The AI data centers in America have already become hugely unpopular. The noise pollution from their cooling systems reach up to 100 decibels and run nonstop. They are drawing down aquifers in areas that are already in short supply, turning the water brown and tainting it with a disinfectant smell. And there is no benefit to the local community. A U.S. Chamber of Commerce report found that each data center provides about 157 jobs. Because of all this, developers have been using non-disclosure agreements with local officials, and projects are announced only weeks before voting for approval. There are now nearly 200 active opposition groups across the United States, and it's growing fast. The official story is that the U.S. needs to stay competitive to beat China in an artificial intelligence arms race. But that story does not add up. The United States has already built over 4,000 data centers. China ranks at number 4 with 368. What they appear to be is the infrastructure for a new financial system, one that includes mass surveillance and autonomous weapon systems to protect it. The US dollar system is quickly collapsing, which would devastate the entire world economy. The only solution being played out is the AI agentic economy, which requires a massive amount of computing power. This new AI agentic system will be run by autonomous software entities that can own wallets, earn and spend money, create contracts, and transact with each other without human intermediaries. This addresses the debt problem by growing the economy faster than the debt accumulates. Like the petrodollar, it extends US dollar hegemony without fixing its core issue, the debt. The Bank for International Settlements is the bank for central banks. It is immune from any national law, and its employees have diplomatic immunity. It answers to no government on earth, and every central bank is a member. BRICS only appears to be in opposition to Western banking. It is not. BRICS is aligned with the rest of the world in adopting this new AI digital banking system. But a growing number of analysts agree that this is a temporary fix. After about 10 years, the consumption of resources, the displacement of human workers, and the massive transfer of wealth to the few who own these AI agents makes a fundamental restructuring unavoidable. And yet, the entire world is going along with this plan. The question is, why? As we covered in last week's video, the New World Order, the emerging unipolar world is preparing for a major geological event that is expected to be catastrophic for the United States and beneficial to Russia. In the United States, data centers are being built inland and on elevated land, away from the coastlines. This is where all vital U.S. infrastructure is being moved, and is where billionaires are buying up acres by the millions. China is building their data centers inland and high above sea level, over 1,200 kilometers from their main user bases, who have been complaining about latency and security. China has also built ready-to-occupy ghost cities at high elevation, deep inland, and on geologically stable platforms. And they are now using economic incentives to move its population into these cities and away from the coast. Russia's official government plan explicitly states the opening up of new land for agriculture and easier transportation of goods in the Arctic as positive effects of an expected pole shift. They are spending billions preparing for it. They have passed dozens of new laws aimed at stimulating economic growth and encouraging migration to the Arctic, including free land grants, subsidized mortgages, and other social benefits for those who make the move. Russian scientists have concluded that 13 million square kilometers of currently frozen territory will soon thaw and become the center of Russian civilization and a land of great opportunity. Russia is not frantically building data centers. They are passing homesteading laws and preparing for a windfall of new landmass. The expected catastrophic geological event is the most elegant explanation for all the chaos happening on Earth today. It explains just about everything. The real mystery is this: what exactly is causing it, and how do the most powerful people on Earth know about it? Greg Reese reporting.
All right, thank you for being here. What is it today? It's May 14th, 2026. 6. Thank you for being here. I cannot hear myself. Sound, can you hear me? Okay, thank you for being here. I want to say God bless everybody that's here tonight. We're going to get into the data center stuff just a little bit. Um, I don't know if you know this or not. And tomorrow night, I'll pull the clips in tomorrow for tomorrow night's show, and we'll do a deeper dive into the data centers and what's really going on behind the data centers and the fake assassination attempt with the White House and the push for the military operation with Erica Kirk. We're going to get into all that tomorrow. It's all connected. And I'm just going to break it down just a little bit for tonight because I couldn't get in here last night. We have an event coming up, and I was busy doing that last night, so I couldn't get online. So we have a big event coming up on the 30th of this month, so I was preoccupied. So I came in for a little bit tonight just to cover this because this is the thing that they're not well the alternative media is starting to talk about it. But let me just be clear. The thing that happened at the White House or the correspondence dinner, right down the street from the White House, was a psyop for everybody to come out and talk about we need the ballroom. Trump needs his ballroom, and that was a coordinated military operation. Also, the clip of Erica Kirk was and also a military operation. And then she comes out and she talks about the reason why she was there was so that she could talk to these reporters that have been putting these allegations on her and all that stuff, right? But the big thing that everyone missed, or maybe not everyone, but some people missed, was the fact that the ballroom thing is not about the Secret Service office that's in there, or the ballroom, or probably the CIA office that's going to be in there, or whatever. It's about the data centers that they plan to put in the basement of the ballroom. And so this right here is the very thing that I think all this goes together. And whether you think Trump is great or not, that's we're not talking about that, right? We're talking about the deep state controlling everything that's going on, and this ballroom is really about them data mining for control over you and I and everybody basically in the world to track and trace and do all that stuff that we've talked about. The cars where they have the automatic shutoffs and they have the tracking, and they film you and video you in your car and send it to the data mines and all that stuff. That's already going on, but this is a way that they can really track you and really do more than just get the data and store it. Because think about what's going on right now. You have all the tech giants, all of them, from Elon Musk to, BlackRock, all of them. They're all in China with Trump right now, making some kind of a deal. Don't know what exactly the deal is. You wouldn't know if they told us. They'd be lying to us anyway, because everything they do in the last year has been lies and misconceptions and all that stuff. That's what they do. Ever since really since the Epstein files came out, or the Charlie Kirk thing, assassination, ever since then everything's changed in and around the White House and every all the operations going on there and everything. That's why they have people like Cash Patel running the FBI, because he's going to do whatever Trump tells him to do, or whatever Trump's advisors tell Cash Patel to do. That's just how it is. And so allegedly there's no real way to get around any of that right now, because they're all basically doing the bidding for Trump. And think about what happened. Think about what happened in the first 100 days of the administration when Trump's kids, Eric and Don Jr. and Ivanka and all the I don't know how much Ivanka had involved, how much involvement she had with the crypto thing, but think about what happened when they did all that crypto thing. It was supposed to take off and it was supposed to be the next greatest thing, the XRP, the all that stuff, and it crashed. Remember that? Well, my understanding, and I have not been able to verify this. I'm not into crypto and all that stuff. I'm not like a investor in crypto or whatever. But my understanding is that was bought that the way they bought that stuff. They made billions of dollars off of the crash of the Bitcoin or the XRP or whatever that went up and then back down. Right? That's what they do. They buy light and sell heavy. Right? And so all this kind of goes together with the Iran war, the the corruption in the White House, the Epstein files, all this stuff I think is all connected to the data mines. And if you haven't heard Gorka coming out the last couple days talking about uh basically taking away your free speech because if you say something that they don't agree with, whether it's Israel, whatever, any of that stuff, he's talking about taking your voice away from you and arresting you if you go against the narrative, which is Israel is King Daddy, right? So I'm going to play a little bit. I'm not going to get into much of this clip tonight. I'm just going to play a small portion of it. It's 18 minutes long. Maybe we'll put it up later. It's a Ben Swan where he breaks it down, kind of goes into a deep dive. I'm going to play probably 5 minutes of it right now, and then I'll cut it up a little bit and play some of it tomorrow night when I have more time to work on it, so I can pull out the things that might not be as important. But this whole report from Ben Swan is like spot on, and he always does have really good reports and stuff. But let's just listen to some of this. I'm not going to do it all. I'm just going to do a little bit of it. But stand by. Oh, you mother. Okay. Oh,
AI data centers that are now popping
right.
up all across the country. These are massive industrial complexes that are being built across the US. And like locusts or some kind of old world plague, they are devouring up everything in their path. And while big tech calls it the future, it may be a dystopian future. So many Americans already experience it as a nightmare. I'm talking about much higher electric bills, water shortages, and even land grabs. And the craziest part here, you're paying for every bit of it. Take a look at this map. The United States already has thousands of data centers operating right now. And according to new research, another 3,000 to 3,500 are planned or already under construction globally. They require a staggering 190 gigawatts of power. To put that in perspective, that's more electricity than some entire countries use. And these facilities aren't just eating up electricity, they are devouring water. The US data center industry is already using 449 million gallons of water every single day. Now, here's where the story gets really dark. Because while big tech executives promise innovation, ordinary people are being crushed. According to reports by CBS, some residents living near new AI data centers have seen their power bills skyrocket by as much as 267%. Americans cannot afford their electric bills because of the electricity they aren't even using. And while the data centers themselves are paying reduced industrial electricity rates. So understand what's happening here. You pay more, so big tech can pay less. That's the deal. These companies are building digital empires, Amazon, Google, Meta, Oracle. and entire communities are being forced to subsidize it. In Georgia, power companies are now moving forward with a massive $17 billion data center project. And to build it, more than 20 homeowners could be forced off their property and off their land through eminent domain. Think about that. Your home, your property, your family land taken so that AI servers can generate chatbots and surveillance systems and digital advertising. This isn't just happening in Georgia. Look at this monster. It is called the Stratos Hyperscale Data Center, and it's a project that's expected to be around 40,000 acres in Utah. That's 2.5 times the size of Manhattan. 2.5 times. It will use more than double the entire electricity consumption of the entire state of Utah. One facility in Utah will use more than double the electricity of the entire rest of the state. That is staggering. And reports say it was approved through a loophole that avoided full public scrutiny. Of course it did, because if people actually understood what was happening, they would never approve this. The issue has turned so heated that hundreds of protesters turned up at the site demanding a chance to vote on the issue. This happened just last week because it's their right too. Instead, Kevin O'Leary, one of the famous backers of this project in Utah, is calling those people, those citizens, foreign plant. Kevin O'Leary, one of the sharks of Shark Tank, says any resistance to data centers in this country is a national security issue. You saw the hat he was wearing. It said Utah National Security. Here's the thing. What do these data centers do to protect Americans? If anything, these data centers raising prices, taking over, using all of our water, that's a security issue. What is Kevin O'Leary saying about that? What is the government doing about that? You see, it's not just a national security issue. He's saying it because he wants to sow fear, and then you will be so in fear that you shut up and you don't talk about this anymore. We do that with everything. We do it with war, the war in Iran, the war in Ukraine, coronavirus. Shut your mouth and take your medicine. But the thing is, it's a bigger national security issue that we could soon struggle for basic necessities. And that's happening right now. There are some watchdogs who are sounding the alarm here. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation, the group responsible for monitoring grid stability across the US and Canada, it just issued its highest level warning, a level 3 essential action alert. That is not normal. The report explains that AI data centers create massive power swings that can destabilize entire electrical grids in seconds. And grid operators currently do not have adequate systems to handle it. So while politicians talk about smart cities, the people actually running the grid are warning about blackouts. And then there's the quality of life. Look at this. Hear that? Videos like you just saw there have been shared online showing residents living near the facilities, and they describe that constant humming all the time. The issue is so bad, they say it disrupts their sleep. Some say it sounds like you're living next to an airport that never turns off. Here's the part that nobody in corporate media wants to talk about. These data centers are not just powering AI chatbots. They are powering the infrastructure of the next digital and surveillance era. Surveillance, facial recognition, predictive policing, digital AI systems, flock cameras, and eventually a central bank digital currency. That's what this is really all about. Control through infrastructure. And now, after years of ignoring this explosion, it seems like the federal government is starting to notice. The Energy Information Administration now says it wants to force data centers to report how much power they're using. Will it do any good? Tells you something very important, though. The government may not even fully understand the scale of what's already being built. At least one hand in the government doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And that should maybe not surprise you, but it should terrify you. We're seeing the impacts of growth without restraint. And now people are starting to realize, folks, this isn't just the future. It's a corporate takeover of your physical space, a corporate takeover of water, of power, of land, of communities. And the costs are being dumped directly onto you, on your electric bill, on your water supply, on your property value, on your quality of life, all so that big tech can build the backbone of the AI economy.
All right, so that's enough. That's like 6 minutes of that. It's an 18-minute report, and it breaks it all down, all the different things about it and all that stuff. This is what they're doing. They're they're doing a like 400,000 acres in Utah and just pushing people out of their property so that they could build these AI data centers basically. So, I was talking to somebody today, and I was talking about it, and about the what this looks like and what it's what's involved. And they were like, "Oh man, that sounds so cool." I mean, we use Chat GPT for everything. I do all my reports with it, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, but do you realize what is going to happen if they get complete control of all the water, all the electricity, and all the fuel because it takes all those things to run it, and then your utility bills are going to triple." You heard what he said, 2.5 times or whatever, 200 and something times over, whatever. And then what do you end up with? You end up with a humming sound in your neighborhood. I mean, that it's just crazy. And a lot of people buy these properties out in the middle of nowhere because they don't want to be around people and they want to live off the land. But if they take your water where you can't even get water to, for your crops or whatever, they're already talking about you can only use so much water because there's a water ration, but then they're going to let these AI, data centers run constantly and take up all the water from all the reservoirs and all that stuff. So it's just the whole thing is just wild. I mean, we're gonna get into it tomorrow night. We'll do a deeper dive into this, man. But can you just imagine what they're doing? They're and so the reason why I'm really bringing this up is because what are they doing right now in China? What do you think they're really doing? Because we know that you know China's a dictator state government. The whole thing is controlled by you know Jinping or Xi Jinping or whatever like that. So we know that he's a dictator. We know that. But why did Trump take all the tech bros over there with him, which they all do business with China, right? You got Apple, you have BlackRock, you have Elon Musk, have all these tech bros that they all operate all their stuff through China because they get everything cheaper through China. What do you think's going to happen when they start the digital currency through the same operation because it's all computer generated, you know, the whole operation is done through AI and all that stuff. And then you talk about digital currency where you don't have cash, then they can shut your power, shut you off, just shut you off. If you don't get in line with what they want, they turn your money off, and then you can't even buy food for your family. The whole thing is just horrible, and we've covered it a lot on this show. The CBDCs and all that stuff, but the 15-minute cities and all that stuff. It all goes together, and if they can pull this off, man, we're fucked. I'm just gonna say it. So anyway, we'll cover more about that tomorrow for sure. I want to get into this other thing briefly. I got a little bit of time. I want to cover this the other side of it is the free speech or lack of free speech thing that's going on right now. If you're against Israel or if you're against what Gorka says, then you don't have the right to speak.
In a brazen power grab ripped straight from the globalist authoritarian handbook, President Trump's National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, or NSPM 7, has just redefined core American beliefs as indicators of domestic terrorism. This thing unleashes the FBI's sprawling joint terrorism task forces to sniff out and preemptively dismantle networks before a single crime is committed. Stephen Miller called it the first real all-of-government push against left-wing terror. But as Ken Klippenstein laid bare, the language is so broad it devours everything in its path. bypassing Congress through the same old federal local fusion centers that have been grinding away at liberty for decades. And in the last few days, Trump's counterterrorism point man, Sebastian Gorka, made it crystal clear this blade cuts both ways.
Let's come back to right-wing extremism. Do you regard it as a threat at all, or anything that's important to be considering right now? Because the SPLC revelations, I feel like we just got the tip of the iceberg. We don't really know how deep it goes. I mean, is there any? I guess that's the question. I'm assuming there's a little bit, because it's a big country. There's a little bit of everything. But is there really anything?
We have to have an effective, accurate snapshot on who are part of the conservative movement today. Because I would say to you, I'm not sure that Nick Fuentes or Tucker Carlson are conservatives. If you are lauding a Sharia law, if you are saying that there are Muslim states that seem to be better qualitatively than America in terms of freedom and prosperity, I'm not sure that means you're part of the conservative movement. So if you remove those individuals and you understand that they're not conservatives, what's left? Who are the people in the mainstream of the conservative movement, Alex, who are saying violence is okay? Hard to find people who aren't fringe figures.
So I don't talk a lot about Fuentes on the show because I always knew that there was something up about it. It was very obvious to me, and I just didn't know how much. It's always tough when you go to a big newsroom like Breitbart, because I've got two options. I've got ignore it, knowing this thing is eventually going to go away, or direct a bunch of fire at it. And we did a couple of pieces on him over the years that have been negative, obviously. But I spent a lot of time on it because it felt very inorganic to me. Certainly the numbers that were reported around this guy, that he was commanding this huge audience, though none of us know anyone who actually cares about his show in a serious way. Now he came out just a couple of days ago and said he's a flat out Democrat. The left understands this. They're as strategic as we are, if not more strategic. And for them to boost people who could drive a wedge within the MAGA movement is about the best strategy they could run. And now we've got actual evidence that's what they were doing.
It's such a sad truth.
NSPM 7 can now be twisted into domestic inquisition. Thousands of JTTF agents embedded in local police departments, campuses, and online, now primed to hunt radicalizing speech that challenges Gorka's protected narrative.
Official terrorism strategy, counterterrorism strategy, literally says they will identify and neutralize political groups that are anti-American, and then they throw in or radically pro-transgender and anarchists. So the bone is, we're going to go after Antifa. We're going to go after the transgender groups. But don't worry. We define all of the former MAGA that are actually patriots as the enemy. Just like they tell you all the police states for the Muslims after 9/11. And then, of course, the whole time it was really for all of us.
Fuentes, you will burn in hell, you sad little boy.
What the?
This isn't new. It's a bipartisan version of post 9/11 powers. NSPM 7 revives that machinery domestically, mapping evil doers through beliefs once protected by the First Amendment, which this document notably ignores. Recall Bush-era directives enabling mass surveillance and preemption that ensnared Americans for years, from Obama's IRS targeting conservatives to Biden's war on Alex Jones and every America First dissenter. Time to expose it, reject it, and reclaim the freedoms our forefathers bled for. The Great Awakening demands vigilance, not compliance. John Bound reporting for the Alex Jones Network.
So one of the things that happened yesterday, maybe it was when was it? The talking heads started talking about how Iran is responsible for 9/11 now, when we know that Israel and the United States and others were involved in 9/11. Now they're trying to say that Iran was involved or was the main culprit for 9/11. We know that's just a complete lie, but this is what they do. they use all these propaganda tactics to get you thinking something else while they're doing something on the other side, just like they did with the ballroom, just like they've done with Charlie Kirk, just like they've done with Epstein files, just like I mean, all of it. And it sure is funny that when we started talking about Epstein, they came up with something else. So we'd stop talking about Epstein files, and now they're on to something else, and then something else, and then something else. And that's why I'm like, why is everything a lie? Everything we've been taught our whole life is a lie. Like like the moon landing. I mean, just everything, everything that the government has anything to do with is all lies. And I had never thought I would say that. I really never thought it was that bad. I mean, lack of a better word, I'm just calling it bad. But I mean, it just seems like I guess I didn't realize how corrupt it really was, and still until I stepped back and really took a look at what it was, and what was going on. Because in 2020, I really started to see like the corruption from a 30,000 foot view. I started seeing that all the little things were all the little corruption. The FBI, the CIA, we knew the CIA was bad. I didn't know how bad the FBI was until I seen what they did with like January 6th and different things like that. And then as you just keep peeling the onion, layers of the onion, you keep seeing more and more and more. And then when and I was telling my wife this today, actually, I was like, I cannot believe that I'm I'm so disgusted with what Trump has done. I mean, I'm just beside myself about it. I cannot believe what I see. And, is there some good things? I mean, they don't outweigh the bad for sure. It was different in the beginning. It was just like, maybe he's playing that, that QAnon, the 70s chest or whatever. That's what I kind of thought it was at first. But the longer it went on, the more I started seeing all these other things. And, maybe it's true. Maybe what these people have been saying for all this time is true. Is Trump that, blackmailed or whatever? Is he that compromised to where he's letting Israel run the show allegedly? I don't know. I mean, it sure does seem that way. And I hate to be saying this right now because I was like, I'm just, I'm just beside myself about the whole thing. And you should be too. And if you're a Trump supporter, God bless you. Maybe you should take a step back and take a look at what's going on. I see something that I never thought I'd say is that I cannot believe when I start looking underneath the mat and seeing all these different things, it's shocking to me. It really is. It's really, really is shocking. And am I going to say that there's some good things that Trump has done? Yes, there are. But right now, I don't see that the good things outweigh the bad. Not even close. Maybe it'll change. Maybe this whole thing with going to China and doing all this stuff with the tech bros is a move for the betterment of our country. I don't see it, but I'm not on the inside either. So who knows? I don't know. I don't know. So we'll stay on this one for sure. We'll be doing a deep dive on this one because I mean this is our country. This is when you start talking about how if you're not the right kind of MAGA, I guess they're calling it, MAGA's dead. I mean, they've killed the never Trumpers or the whatever the hell we're calling them now. They've ruined the brand MAGA, right? The Make America Great Again. They've completely ruined it, and I'm going to show you what I mean right now in just a second. Because when you really take a look at like if you can just step back for a minute and take a bigger picture, you'll be like, wow, maybe you're with me. I don't know. you know, some of my audience is like, I can't believe you turned it on Trump, but that's not the truth. It's like I'm for the truth. Like my platform has always been. You can look on my website. It's always been wherever the truth leads me is where I'm going to go, and that's it. And I don't care who it is, what it is. You know, I'm going to follow the truth. Period. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You know. So anyway, stand by stand by.
Is that what I voted for? Did I vote for paying more money to our government so that I can pay more money for fuel? I feel like he ran on a different thing. Am I going to go back to the thing? Yeah, I'm going to go back to the thing. Number 3, end inflation, make America affordable again. I would say that one way you wouldn't make America affordable again is by paying for more FBI and paying more for your gas. If only he had thought about that. Oh, he did. He did think about that. That was the number 3 priority when he ran. You guys think that November's going to be okay? Just because I feel like I'm going to be right and I'm going to be vindicated in this thing that I'm saying, and the fact that I can go back to the promises that were made by the president and then find out, like, well, you didn't keep them, so why would you expect to keep power in the House and the Senate? Just because I'm going to be right about that, it doesn't mean that I'm psyched. It means that we're all losing. Nothing worse than being right and also losing. Again, the analogy, as I think you guys said, his name is Peter Boyle, great actor in the X-Files, standing on top of what ends up being a dead body. And they're like, why are you smiling? Because he's uncovered the dead body he was looking for. He was a psychic. And he's like, I'm not smiling. I'm wincing. I almost named today's show. I'm not smiling. I'm wincing. I'm not thrilled about this. It's bad. It's all bad.
My plan will cut energy prices in half or more than that within 12 months of taking office. It will be an economic revival of our country like no one has ever seen before. Energy was what caused our problem initially. Energy is going to bring us back. That means we're going down and getting gasoline below $2 a gallon, bring down the price of everything from electricity rates to groceries, airfares, and housing costs.
Yeah, that would make sense. If you brought down the price of transportation and fuel, then everything would get cheaper. And so what did we get instead? We got data centers. We got destruction and bombing in the Middle East so that we could have higher gas prices. Yeah, I mean, he did get it down, and he's right. In 12 months, they got the prices to a good spot. And then they were like, yeah, F it. Let's just do it. We've been in office for a year now. We hit the 12-month goal. Let's see if we can blow it out the wall.
But we're going to get this done, and you're going to have, within 1 year, think of it, within 1 year, you're going to have electric bills and energy bills, and your gasoline for your car is going to be 50% cheaper than it is right now. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. But we're going to get this done, and you.
So those were him. That was Donald Trump speaking in front of the Detroit Economic, what was it called? The Economic Club and the Economic Club of New York, right? Those were all the claims that he was making then. Is he worried about you at the moment? Again, if we've got an FBI director who theoretically takes all of his marching orders from Donald Trump, I have to believe that that's what's going on. Cash is nothing but team loyalty to Donald Trump. Did he go, excuse me, sir, but I know that this organization spied on you, and I know that they actually kicked down the door of your house and ran through and looked through your wife's underwear drawer, and I know that they did all that stuff, but we need to give them another $1 billion. We need to increase their budget by about 10%. I know you cut it previously for the first year, but now that I'm in here, and even though I don't know what I'm doing, and even though I brought on a bunch of management that still continues to be management that was hired by the last guy who did the last thing, and we're not going to go after Chris Wray. By the way, do you guys hear any things about indictments of Chris Wray or that he somehow did something wrong? No, they're going after Jim Comey. Why? Because they won't get Jim Comey. He's also back in the news. He's talking about maybe you shouldn't be a drunk if you're the FBI director. Fact check, true. Don't like Jim Comey, but accurate. You think that Patel went to him and was like, hey, boss, because I know that's what he calls him. Hey, boss, we're going to need like another $1 billion on the FBI. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's what I hope. I was hoping you would rebuild bigger than ever before, bigger and more beautiful, because that's what he cares about.
To what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
What was that? Do you care about Americans' financial situations? No, not even a little bit. The only thing we care about is the thing that I told Bibi, not Netanyahu, I care about, or at least Bibi Netanyahu said that I told him that I cared about, which is that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. So when it comes to affordability, just remember, just because things are expensive doesn't mean that in your heart of hearts, you're not psyched.
Yeah, so I mean that's all fact check true, right? I mean that's what we're looking at. I mean it's like I got gas today. It's Friday. I generally get gas for next week on Friday, and it was $6.25. In case you didn't get that, I had to play it again. $6.25. Now I'm in California, so I get it. You know, I hate to see what it's like in Los Angeles right now because it's generally $1 more, at least $1 more in like San Francisco and Los Angeles. I'm up north, so it's not as bad, I'm sure. But diesel is $7.50, $7.65. I mean, it's hate to see what it's like to fill up your big ass diesel truck, right? Sad. This is not good. And you know, for Trump to come out and say, I don't care about American I don't care about their finances at all. I only care about Iran not having a nuclear weapon, which they don't have. And we've been in this war for, I don't know, working on 2.5 months now. And he's not concerned about American citizens' finances, but he's worried about Iran having a nuclear weapon, which can't reach us anyway. And so, I mean, I'm like, what in the hell happened? What happened to this? I don't know what happened. And you know, it's pretty devastating for someone like me that is just like, what in the hell is going on? So, one more for you, just to
Trump's pieced out to China, going to go meet with Xi Jinping. He took all the tech oligarchs with him. They're just going to get some tips on how to implement a social credit score. I'm sure it's going to be fine. On Trump's way out the door, though, he did drop the mother of all retarded sound bites. Yeah, this one, just some Joe Biden level retarded shit. One of the reporters asked him, hey, you going to wrap up this Iran shit show? Trump's like, yeah, we've already won 50 times, and now they got to make the deal, and they got to come. And the reporter was like, that's great and all, dude. But do you ever consider the American people's financial situation while you're thinking about these negotiations? And Trump, this is the retarded shit. Trump, and I quote, said, no, I never think about the American people's financial situation when negotiating with Iran. He says, the only thing on my mind is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's like, well, that's fucking weird because Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. And Trump has even said, how many times has Trump said, well, you obliterated their whole nuclear program back in the 12-day war. Oh, and then he obliterated it like, I don't know, 9 more times in this bullshit fucking war campaign. So what fucking nuclear weapon? What fucking nuclear weapon is it, dude? Well, that's just the thing. There is no fucking nuclear weapon. It was never about the nuclear weapon. This is about regime change. Israel, the Greater Israel Project, the deep state, the globalists, they want Iran broken up into 12 ethnic fucking regions, unstable, unable to fucking stop any aggression out of Israel upon its neighbors. That's always what Iran has been, that backstop against Israel, just invading and blowing up everybody like they're doing in southern Lebanon and all over. President of the United States, Bibi Netanyahu, he went on 60 Minutes and he told everybody, he's like, no, it's unconditional surrender and they have to give up all their nuclear fucking material. And the reporter guy's like, how do you expect to fucking do that? And Bibi Netanyahu's like, I don't care how the United States does it. We're not going to do it. He's like, but the United States needs to get over there and make sure that doesn't happen. Bibi Netanyahu says, I just call the music. I don't care how Trump dances. He just better do what I say. But this is the end for Trump. This is a no-win situation for Trump. Trump either fucking destroys the American economy and the American people turn on him with $10 gas, or Israel's gonna fucking Charlie Kirk him if he just pulls out. So Trump is now in a lose-lose situation, and he doesn't have a fucking clue what to do. That's why he just pieced out to China and is just leaving Iran out here in the air. Like he's got nothing to do with it. Nope, we already won that war fucking 30 fucking times. And the neocons, they're all turning on Trump already. All the never Trumpers that are new MAGA, you know, Lindsey Graham, John Bolton, all these fucks, they're all openly starting to say that we have lost the Iran war. And they're blaming Trump and Pete Hegseth. Bolton went on fucking Piers Morgan. He said the whole problem with the Iran war is all due to Trump's mismanagement. And otherwise, we would have been winning this if Trump just would have went harder. Said he didn't bomb them enough. You didn't bomb Iran enough. And it's like bombing has never brought any society to heal. It's never worked. In the history of bombing campaigns, bombing alone will never end a regime. It only hardens a populace against you because you're just bombing them. And they're like, no, fuck you. I don't like it. Lindsey Graham turned on Pete Hegseth today, and he's like, why is Iran not bending to your blockade? Well, because the blockade is bullshit. 11 ships cannot blockade the Persian Gulf, and Iran is not even hurt, even if you could blockade it off. They have 7 overland trade routes with Pakistan. They have a railway directly to China that they trade on. They trade with Russia right through the Caspian Sea. Iran is a giant country, and they don't give a fuck if you blockade off that shit. The America has been sanctioning Iran for 47 fucking years. You can't, it doesn't work that way. You can't break them that way. They are playing for the end game and they hold the cards. Iran has the leverage because they control the straits. He who controls the straits is the one winning this war. That's how you know Iran is winning this war. So Trump is now in a lose-lose. Can't pull out, can't go more. If he goes any harder, Iran has already said, we are going to strike all of these other infrastructure targets all throughout the Middle East. They told all their neighbors, expel the U.S. military from your land and you can have access through the straits. They've already told them what the deal is, and some of them are already considering it. Saudi Arabia has said no more using our airspace to go fucking bomb shit. They're fucking done. They don't want any more of this. The UAE is fucking shitting their pants. All of them. Qatar, every single one of the neighbors, except fucking psychopathic Israel, because this is Israel's last chance. Israel has always controlled American presidents, but they have never controlled one like they control Donald Trump, and this is their last chance at it. The public opinion of Americans turning against Israel, they will never have control like this ever again, so they are going to go balls out, and they do not give a fuck if it fucking destroys the American economy, and they will burn Donald Trump down. Right? I bet you, because Israel just loves to fucking humiliate even people that fucking help them. When Trump cannot succeed in toppling Iran, they are going to just do their little humiliation ritual. They'll release whatever blackmail they got on Trump already, and that'll be fucking hilarious. Like, you fucking made a deal with the devil, and this is what you get, Trump. This is what you get. No one will care when the Democrats fucking come for you. And even the Republicans, they're
All right. Anyway, so I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hope that you can make it. We'll see you then. God bless you all. See you later.